Welcome, my friends. Hello, hello. Let me open up the chat. Welcome, welcome. How's everybody? I'm gonna give you guys a minute to log in here. We are live also on YouTube. So if you're in YouTube, throw me a heart or a chat, a smile, something. Let me know you're here. And that helps me to see everybody. I'm not looking at you direct, so those on YouTube, you'll have to kind of make your presence known. How's everybody doing? Thank you. I took the blur off. It was making my videos a little blurry. So anyway, I'm going to give everybody a minute here to log in. I can see logging in, and we're going to have an interesting chat tonight because there's so much happening in the sky that it's almost like overwhelming to talk about. But if you can like simplify it down, it will help you to kind of go within a little bit and understand how you're adapting to yourself at this point. How are you changing you at this point? And that's typically the goal, right? That's the goal always of us when we're in these weird funks and then we're fine, and then funky, then fine, then funky, then fine, right? And so that's the goal, is to try and override that with truth, but as well as understanding the sky and what's happening in your chart, etc. All right, so we're going to get started, and then I'm going to just let everybody kind of slide in as they do, and we'll go from there. All right. Right, my friends, welcome to the Truth Tribe. I am Dawn Thompson. Again, thank you all for being here, as you are every week with me. Remember that you're all perfect exactly where you are in this right now moment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Absolutely nothing wrong with you. And no matter how you're feeling, what's happening, it's all for you. I love you. And remember that Truth Tribe is to illuminate your self-awareness of your health, wealth, and love. I do not believe you need 20 years of therapy. You need clarity now, which is our goal. You also do not always need an astrology chart for Truth Tribe, but if you have your own birth chart, not transits, you have your own birth chart, it sure helps for self-awareness as we're discussing some of the signs that are affecting us personally. Okay. So escaping victimhood avoidance, and boy, is this a big one right now. So I want everybody that is getting on this call tonight, I want you all to repeat after me, okay? Repeat after me out loud, in your head, however you want to repeat after me, but I want you to repeat after me. I am ready to call myself out on my shit today so I can be free to live as I dream. You can be a lighthouse, or you can be the emotional fog. And if you don't know you, that's going to get you tripped up, my friends. Even though I teach this all day long, you guys, I forget that I too experience this. And when it appears in my life, I want to share it with you so you can know that you're doing super amazing. You're doing so great. You just need a visual example to override yourself or what's happening or why it's happening. So do you ever wonder like why we end up in toxic relationships, or accept toxicity in relationships, or accept it even in people we love, and we're like, I don't understand, right? And I mean, seriously, like who would ever want to be in this distress? I always question it, like who would want to do that? Nobody would want to do that. So if you're not happy in your relationship, what do you do? So I've shared that you often, I mean, so many times you're probably like, I'm like a broken record, right? That you attract people to awaken you. They're your pressure. They push your buttons. They get you stimulated. And whether it's on the TV, whether it's in your parents' or family's social gathering, whether it's your friendship group, whether it's your spouse, whether whoever, people are here to awaken you, and you attract them to do that. Okay, what you have to stop doing is using them as your excuse to live small, imprisoned, never feeling free. Yet you must hold an attracting energy to make that opposition happen. And that's what's happening right now. We don't see that we're the one that's holding this energy, and we have to attract pressure and problematic people to make that growth happen. And it's all you. Okay. And so I was having a week, like, honestly, like I was giving myself gratitude for my body feeling so healthy. And I'm like, this feels so good. It's been so long, right? And as soon as I let that go, my body revealed that last week, right? Infinite duality loop that we discussed, number 84 on Truth Tribe last week, right? Where I was so overextended then in the next, like, oh, I feel good. And then I overextended myself in my energy with others, and it started using up my battery to fill theirs up. And I didn't look at myself as my own demolition specialist. I was demolishing myself, and my energy was like a battery going down. And bam, as soon as I needed energy for me, I started feeling unwell. Migraines started popping up, stomach issues popped up. And I would never admit to acting as if I'm a victim. Like I can't even stand the word. And I was like, I've got to deep dive into this and understand this. Yet the energy of it was so apparent, right? If you look at your duality loops, one end is the victim and one end is the perpetrator. So if you're playing this victim energy and you don't want to admit it, and I'm going to go into deeper of this, but just go with me, okay? You have to go at the opposite end as the perpetrator, because you need someone to cause the victim energy, or your victim energy needs someone to play the role of the perpetrator, right? Now, everyone, if you've got a piece of paper, or at least in your mind, I want you to draw a triangle. Okay, draw a triangle on your paper and or just in your mind. Okay, see the triangle. Okay, and then label each corner with these words. So the bottom corner, write victim. And then on the right bottom corner, write rescuer. And then in the top corner, put perpetrator. What's fascinating about this triad, you can make it a circle, but the triangle works best, is victims need perps. Okay, rescuers need victims. My friends, so if you are standing in depleted, not want to answer to victim, use the word needy energy field, your perp out here, there's your loop, must come out to balance you awake. Awaking you to the people pleaser in you, to the compromiser in you, to the doormat cycles that you refuse to see, just that, victimhood. Okay, the victim, perpetrator, rescuer cycle is what's coming up right now, because it's us and them and us and them, me and them, me and them. And I'll show you on the charts in a little while when we get to the planetary update. So when you're stuck in your victim low frequency energy, or the needy energy, because you're low, energetically, physics tells you, right? The pendulum has to swing. So if it goes over here to needy victim, it has no choice but in physics to swing exactly the same amount the other way to perpetrator. So it tells you that you have to balance out using a polarity scale, so that you're going to draw in perpetrators to prove your victim state in you. It's fascinating. But we don't I look at everything as science, right? Like energy is energy, and you got to open up to it. Why? Because if you're in now rescuer mode, what are you going to draw? The victim, so you can feel worthy, right? We needed the perpetrator to hold that victim status. So acknowledge your weakest wound. When you do that, that's your way out. That's the freedom point, okay? Check your moon in your own chart and the theme, and you're going to see right away which energy you're drawn to, as well as Chiron. We're going to go into that in a minute, but maybe ask yourself, am I drawn to problematic people? And then I get upset when they use, abuse, manipulate, drain, and leave me in distress. The victim is balancing out their loop with the perpetrator. You have to have that perpetrator there when you're low, because you're the one not calling out your own energy, going, no, you will not drain me. Okay. Are you attracting wounded people, right? Who you know how to help. I mean, you know, in your brain, you know how to help. You immediately step in and start fixing their issues, their pain, their money, their weaknesses. teaching, preaching, mothering them in some way to make them feel better. Okay. Rescuers then are balancing out their loops with the victims. If you're in rescuer mode, you've got to find the victim to balance you out until you are in a low battery, becoming really depleted. No one wants to admit this one, right? No one wants to admit to the perp position. Perpetrator balancing is harder to see, but to stop the loop from happening, your higher self and your soul knows how to help you stop these poor behavior cycles. You guys want to see how? Okay. So clearly, if you aren't a narcissist and intentionally manipulating others, right, which most of you, all of you, I should say, on these calls aren't, right? But let's take the narcissist who is intentionally trying to go out and manipulate and become the perpetrator, right? Right? You can become your own perpetrator and balance. Your soul will balance out your own loop of intentional balance by hurting yourself with injuring, bullying, attracting injury to yourself, attracting getting sick to yourself, making a choice to accept some sort of toxic remedy that you did not examine, getting taken out of the loop of rescue, and then you become the victim to be pushed into rescuing yourself instead of others. So it's almost like you're the perpetrator to get yourself injured so you will stop going out there and you'll get into here. Okay, so it's visually easy to see when you're seeking solutions to stop repeating this infinite loop of duality of distorted discomfort. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a real clarity on this, but I'm trying to give you all the information first. So really all you're looking at is perpetrator, victim, and rescuer. You all know which one you are. You just don't want to admit it, right? Because we're so distracted with so much stimulus, it's hard to self-assess. Okay, but this is the simplest way of walking into what happened yesterday, which is Libra season, and how to replenish your batteries, right? But the challenge arrives when you refuse to admit you're either in victim mode or you're in rescuer mode, or especially the perpetrator mode, the one that really gets people, right? Because they're like, I would never do that to them, what they did to me, right? You know this. You ready for the aha moment? Your wound, sickness, injury, exhaustion, whatever you want it to be, is self-directed from your higher self. Okay, so you do it to yourself instead of that's where this unhealthy love cycle is perpetuated, because you have been ignoring you. So your own soul becomes the perpetrator to get you to wake the fuck up. And we're like, but it was someone else. It was something I did when I broke my arm. Oh, that was my higher self telling me to slow down, but I didn't want to hear it. And so my higher self said, I'll shut you down. Right. And so what's fascinating is this is the reason self-awareness trumps all psychological understanding. I don't care what psychology book, if you can get that simplified down. Why mental illness is easier to address when you see your soul's truth and not assholes telling you that there's something wrong with you, from parents to psychologists. Don't get me wrong, there's some absolutely legit healers out there that are brilliant, but for the most part, we have neglected our soul's truth, your soul's truth and journey for so long that you feel like you're losing your shit because of doing what you're told and not what your higher self is energized by. So again, the perpetrator can be someone externally who maybe, I don't know, extorts money out of your company or manipulates you or lets you down, or yeah, absolutely can be someone. But when you're not having those people in your life and you're still having trip ups because you're the one going down here on the bottom of victim or rescuing, and your battery starts going down, 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 and your higher self says, I'll step in. I know how to do it. Right? So someone can tell you what's wrong with your life and what to do. But if you can't see it, it's useless to have psychological labels that give you a reason to stay in one of these low frequency loops. Okay, spiritual understanding is you can use anything to avoid the I'm not in that loop. I'm not one of them loop. I'm not a victim, usually is victimizing. I'm not a perpetrator, is reeling your need to punish yourself. I'm not rescuing, is I'm helping others when I'm trying to help when maybe others are not soliciting for my help. You know which one that you are drawn to. My friends, I did this forever. I see it in every single client, okay? I would never manipulate or attack or hurt another person, okay? So yet being the rescuer that I am, right? The rescuing victim corners that held me hostage because I was unwilling to see that I was the perpetrator of my own self. It appeared through illness, and instead of attracting it through people, I got the people lesson first, right? And then I grew confident and I told them to fuck off, basically, and not in actual words, but like, no, I will not accept this behavior with me, right? And well, maybe I did say it sometimes, right? And then my body did it to me when I got lazy on self-care because my nervous system was so out of wiring to fill my battery. We are all energy. We are literally batteries, right? Your entire energetic torus field is a battery system, and this body is a battery system, which is why I tell you guys to go outside and earth to get the grounding of that battery. So once I stopped accepting people's BS, and then I had to then keep myself from falling back into that old nervous system pattern, and I wasn't doing it, I would neglect myself a lot. So my higher self said, you've become too strong in your knowledge, Dawn. You're overlooking situations where you're draining your battery for things and situations and people that are unnecessary and not giving back to you. So my higher self, her name is Answara, that's what she told me her name was, says, oh, okay, girlfriend, I got your back. I'll help you stop getting drained from the external, but you're not taking care of yourself. I'm going to give you some sort of health crisis. Stomach issues, migraines, back pain, kidneys, whatever it was coming up, right? And because, my friends, you have to understand this. Every organ in your body, every bone, every muscle, every tendon has an energetic emotion aligned with it. So knowing that, right, everything is energy and it all has a frequency to it. I simply would go look at the emotion and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm refusing to acknowledge and come clean with myself. Just knowing it doesn't change it. Knowing that emotion you're avoiding and asking yourself, is it because I've been rescuing too many things and too many people? And I do have no business being in that area right now when I have all this going on for me that I'm neglecting me. Oh. And do I feel like a victim because someone took advantage of me and used me? Well, yeah, because I wasn't stepping in and saying no. I was a doormat, right? So of course I was just letting it happen. So the perpetrator has to show up in that energy field. It's that simple with those three. You have skin issues. If you have skin issues, you don't feel confident in your skin. The body will tell you. If you have kidney issues, you're holding on being pissed off. Where does your urine go through, right? You have eye issues. You refuse to see truth that you dislike. If you have sleep issues, you refuse to let go of control. You have liver issues. You don't want to admit you're angry with your life. You have feet issues. You're afraid to take a step in a certain direction. On and on and on. And it's hard for people to understand. If you started looking scientifically at everything and matched it to the energetic frequency of those things, the pain, it'll bring you back to these three spots. Okay. It can be like, people ask me all the time, like, it cannot be that simple, Dawn. And I'm just like, believe me, it is. So acknowledge this triangle of victim, perpetrator, and rescuer. Why? Who and what position are you willing to see yourself in, or one that you fall into easily? Right now, like right now. Because I know hands down, I absolutely can fall in that rescuer mode because it's what I do for a living. So I really have to be very diligent on myself. And if there's nothing outside that's coming at me, or there's no victim showing up, right? Do I come to myself and say, wait a minute. Are you seeing yourself doing it to yourself, Dawn? Does the activity drain my energy and my battery down, or does it raise my battery to a high full frequency and I feel alive? Right? Put your battery, and the solution to this is putting your battery and yourself in the center energy, in the center of the triangle. Now turn it into a circle, right? And now, when you get lost in your emotions and your moon emotions and your childhood emotions, that's what starts pulling you into this polarity cycle of duality instead of what would keep your energy expansive. And when you're in the center of the circle, you're in the center of your energy grid, you're in the center of your soul energy, your chart energy, your personality energy. But we don't stay there. We go into one of these nervous system wiring. Are you willing and allowing yourself to lose your battery charge to external or limiting energy, only to be then move into other environments instead of getting charged by people and charged in environments? It's very rare because we don't know how. We haven't done it. It's rare to see happy, energetic people. The shit that we've been through for the last 4 years has been heavy. It's been a lot on you. So it's not a battery. If you're in a battery draining activity internally and externally, this is time for you to ask yourself, am I in one of those 3 spots? You could be a bully and don't realize it. Okay. So being in the middle of that triangle is no different than being in the middle of your birth chart, right? We talk about this all day long in one day at the advanced DMT method. The event in October in Denver is the next one. And you see all your leaking holes, right? And upgrading. Tonight, I want to simplify it to 2 placements on your chart, to Libra, which is partnerships, people out there, and Aries placements, which is the I placement. So look for Libra and Aries. I'm going to touch on it in a second deeper. What am I not acknowledging that I don't want to see in myself? Like, ask yourself, right? That's what what is that thing that will free me of the victim, the rescuer, or the perpetrator personality? That's ultimately what you want. Freedom from pain cycles you're here to learn from. But if you don't know what they are, it can't simplify them down. I don't have you all here reading your entire chart and sharing yourself, awareness of all of you individually. I would if I could, but this is how you clean it up simple. Yesterday, my friends, on the 22nd, we moved into the Libra equinox. So for the next month, right, we're in Libra season. But right, for me, more importantly, it's going to come up into this new moon, right? I'm sorry, full moon coming up with the sun and the moon sitting on top of the south node in Libra. That's going to push you to balance unbalanced relationships, to balance this polarity in you, to balance your rescuer, victim, perpetrator energy, and realize if you're in one or the other, you have to energetically, physics says you have to pull in the other. So it's time to validate your fears and prove that your fears are wrong. They're wrong by stepping into the center of your chart, the center of the triangle, and checking for unbalanced relationships. And even on not just relationships, but like I was saying for myself, that higher self perpetrator helping me get myself and take me down, right? The imbalance in your own nature. Consider that, where your own self is out of balance. So tonight, I want you guys to check the hotspot check. If you have your birth chart, again, remember, you can go on my chart or on my website. If you go to idiclub.com, at the bottom, it has everything, all the options I give you to get the book, the class. If you want the full book to help you break these down, and you're not with me in every class. Or you can go to my website, IDeserveItNow.com, and go to tools and just go down to free birth chart. You can print it or at least pull it up and watch it, look at it while we talk. So when you look at Libra and Aries on your chart, they are opposite each other. Okay, they're opposite each other on a chart. Aries rules where you have to heal your battery of self. Okay, all about you. And we have Chiron still in Aries up in the sky, forcing us to heal our inner wound of self. Where is that in your chart? Libra on your chart is where your battery and partnerships is revealed. And all of them, I'm telling you, all of your relationships, wherever this energy is pulling on you, is getting flared up at the moment, causing you to seek solutions to your soul's truth, not to what they want for you, but what do you need, my friends? Right? What does your soul need to feel calm and, more importantly, free? I think about things for myself and like, what makes me feel free and full of joy? And those are the things I've been focusing on, because you're all different. You all have different things. If I asked you what would make you feel free, someone would say a book, someone would say the beach, someone would say riding their bike, someone would say decorating their home. It's different for everyone because it's different in your soul. You can access your chart. It's easy if you don't know that, and go look at that, right? Because what's happening is our self and our partnerships are being lit up right now, so you can see your crap or you can avoid it. Either way, it's all your own show. So write down, right, what house and what categories are being revealed for you right now. Hold on, I'm going to pull up this chart for you. There we go. So I always show you my chart because it's just easier for you guys to be able to look. This is what we talk about. We talk about every one of these themes and categories in the DMT method. By the way, where we talk about every house, right? Deepening your self-awareness. Denver is almost full for October, so if you want one of the last seats, grab it. The notes are always in the below. When you look at the chart I have up here, this is my chart always, and I want you all to understand my Libra's down here in the 5th house, and right here in the fun, romance, let's see, affairs, creativity, childlike spirits, and bringing out my inner joy, self-expression. And then my Aries is up here in the friends, dreams, hopes, wishes, public, right? Being on stage, society, social, and I'm doing my events. So it's no surprise that I have to dig deep into that Aries self and make sure that other people aren't draining on me, because that's where I grow, and I need to grow my battery and not let it drain me. And so when you look, wherever Libra sits in your chart, some of you might have Libra in the 8th house, some of you might have Libra in the 4th house. So find the little symbol Libra on the outer edge right here. And so you see little on the outer edge, you can see all these symbols. That's the house that's representing Libra for you. Mine is here in the 5th house. But these little symbols at the bottom, if you look down here, you can see which symbol matches what sign, and go, okay, I'm going to come down here to Libra. Oh, it's a little scales of justice. And I'm going to go look for that on my chart. Where is Libra? And that is where your partnerships are going to get flared up more than somewhere else. Why? Because this is your birth chart. Remember, it never changes. But up in the sky, the sun, the moon, the south node, which is just a spot on the moon, Mercury, I believe, are all there. And on the 2nd, we're going to have a solar eclipse, not a lunar eclipse, in this area of Libra. Wherever it sits for you, it's going to get flared up. Okay. Aries, on the other hand, is going to be opposite Libra, always opposite. So it's going to be sitting on your, oops, sorry about that. Oh, I lost the chart. So look for these symbols, circle them, and circle the houses that are being affected by that. And if it's whatever house, this chart will be put into your, again, Facebook wall if you want it. But again, it's always the same charts. It's just look for different symbols in your chart, and then go to your key and decide what theme is affected by it in your partnerships right now. That is a big deal right now. Why do I say that? My friends, if you can understand, to create right now, everyone needs to step into understanding that the boundary is either you're going to be a ping pong ball going between these three: victim, rescuer, perpetrator, and it's either to yourself or to others. Okay. So if you can create a boundary, what would that be? What would letting this pain go do for you? Whatever that thing is. Oh, cool. Though some of you are sharing with me where your Libra is and what house, and I'll share them with you in Q&A. So what would letting this pain go for you in Libra or Aries houses? So go to what those houses mean. What theme in there matches you the most? For me, it's fun. I am doubling down. I have 3 weeks to go for Denver. We'll pull off the event and then I'm going into fun mode. It's asking me to create relationships, bring them in that fill my battery. Some of you, it's in a different house, right? So I want you to ask yourself, what would letting this pain go do for you? I am the lighthouse and I will not lose my battery life to others' emotional fog. Write that down. I am the lighthouse and I will not lose my battery life to other people's emotional fog. I am light and I am not draining in this loop ever again anymore. Right? And so, someone's struggling to set boundaries. I thank you. These are really good questions. So let me get into Q&A and let me get into the mini planetary update so you guys understand what's going on, and then you'll get this next level. Okay. Everybody repeat after me. I teleport into my dream reality now. Clap 3 times. I teleport into my dream reality now. Okay. It's always there for you. We are the ones creating this out of our nervous system of loops. That's it. Okay. What's happening in the sky right now is happening to the entire planet. So not just you. Okay. And because I told you, we just moved into Libra season, which is law, the scales of justice. It's about balance. It's about relationships, about business partnerships, contracts. There is so much happening, but for the next 2 weeks, up to this Libra lunar eclipse on the 2nd, which I will talk about in depth next week, okay? You don't need it yet. Just want you to work on these 3 boundaries which this person brought up. It's great. You're going to feel the pressure to review and reveal your partnerships in a simple charging or draining viewpoint. And it's up to you to decide what role you're playing. Even if it's your own higher self saying, I'm going to give you physical pain to make you see where you are avoiding yourself to fill your charge, right? And again, like I mentioned earlier, grounding yourself with barefoot, finding fueling activities like reading, reducing toxic people or experiences. Simply pull out of the situation and find what is freeing and then work on only that. Next week, again, we'll review the full moon in Libra, okay? And the solar eclipse coming up, or sorry, the new moon. No, you have full moon. I'm off on my dates. It's going to be at 10 degrees of Libra. And we're going to look at that in your chart so you can kind of start inching into it now. If you know where your chart is and you know where Libra sits, you're going to see what house it sits in 10 degrees. Where do you want to plant a new seed? Because it's a new moon, sorry. I'm off, right, in my days. I'm all over the place. Where do you want to plant a new seed in your partnerships? Do you want more romance? Do you want a partner? Do you want to change the way you're playing victim, rescue, or perpetrator in your relationships? And I mean all of them, even the relationship with yourself and your own nature. It's huge. This is the most important one of all. Everybody tap into your nervous system right here. Tapping is tapping into the nervous system. Every time we're here, repeat after me. I am courage. I am love. I am truth. Tap here. I know courage. I know love. I know truth. One more. I am courage. I am love. I am truth. Every time you tap into that thymus, you are tapping into your immune center, your nervous system, all of it. So tonight on the chat, I'm going to ask you guys to open up to share of these 3 wounded selves that where do you avoid yourself the most? Which one is coming up for all of you? Let me see here. I got people tapping in. Okay. Let's see. Someone says, are we often all 3 depending on who? We can absolutely be all 3. My point is don't be any of them. But we don't catch ourselves because we're not even acknowledging it, because I would never want to say, I'm going after people. No, I'm going after me. I would never want to play the role of the victim, but I can get needy in things because I don't take care of my own needs, right? I can absolutely play the rescue. I'm mastery at rescuing instead of delivering tools like this class and letting you rescue you, which is the way it should be, right? So again, we don't want to step into any of those corners. I'm just asking you to acknowledge which one is flared up right now. Okay. All right. So someone just had mentioned they had Libra in the first house, which is self. And then they would have had Aries in the eighth house, I'm sorry, of Libra as the partnership house. So their partnership is sitting in the house of self, and their Aries is sitting in the house of eight. Sorry, the first house is the seventh house. And what's fascinating about that 1 and 7, okay, is that when you start seeing that you have to step into balancing how you get drained, I want all you guys to understand is those tree energies are basically just asking you tonight about considering yourself. If I'm a battery, here's my little battery cell. And when you start running it down and you start seeing it starting to get to empty, do you even acknowledge it? Or do you flare up and call victim, go hurry and rescue someone to feel better about yourself, or feel like the perpetrator came out? Okay, that's my point. We wait until the battery gets too low, and it's so vital that you start watching this in yourself and sitting in the center, being the lighthouse and only filling right now. This is what it's asking all of you to do. So again, this is why I teach the class this way. You don't even need to know your chart. I knew exactly when I sat with these 3 topics where I was falling short. Cannot do it anymore. Why? It makes me feel better when I don't do that, because then I have more time to acknowledge the few things that do need my attention. Okay, so that was that Libra. I have another one. Libra is the 12th house, Aries is the 6th. 12th house is our self-imprisonment. So do you let partnerships and relationships and people outside of you make you feel imprisoned, like you can't do something, like you can't express yourself, like you're not seen? So you really have to acknowledge the partnership. Okay, and so now the next Aries, which is independent and self, is in her 6th house, the house of health, right? Do I choose me? Do I choose to correct myself? Do I choose how I want to serve? It's the service house. How do I serve? How do I show up? Do I show up sick so I can get attention, or do I show up fully charged of energy so that I can deliver my greatest service to others? That's the difference between those two. Yes, someone who just had the 1 and 7, which again, it doesn't matter where they sit, my friends, but someone just said, yeah, now I have a leaky gut. And we have leaky guts because we're not digesting any of the joy in life. We're only taking in all the weight that we have to go out. Libra energy is all about, we want to fix everyone else so they're okay, so we can come back in here and feel good about ourselves. Then it's okay for us to take care of ourselves. And I'm telling you, non-negotiable. It's time to get in the center of that, like be in the center of the lighthouse of that triangle, and you will not go there. Someone says, I don't know how to set boundaries. I always go back on them and I don't keep them. I want to stop playing victim in my life. I don't want to get in a relationship after the horrible experiences I've been in. And it's because we go outside of ourselves. This is a wonderful question. And I really am grateful she shared this. Because you're sharing this, and what or he or she, I don't know who this is because it's not coming through as a name for me. I apologize if you're whoever this is. The question's coming in because they're using it as boundaries instead of saying, I need to make sure that you're enough for me, not I'm going to show up and fix you and break my boundaries so that you'll be enough, I'll be enough for you. That's where boundaries come in. I'm not a big fan of like boundaries. Boundaries are just saying, I want to keep you out. Living in truth and telling people who you are, which is why self-awareness comes in. When you know who you are, it changes your game, right? Because you're not going to fight anyone to step into your truth if they don't want to. So you will quit breaking boundaries, you'll quit breaking your needs, you'll quit negotiating what you want and who you are. And so looking at Libra and Aries are a good place to start. The other place to start, my friends, is also looking where your moon sign sits. It's where you probably have weakened boundaries because you get emotional about things, right? You're high there and then you're low there. But the bigger pieces right now are Libra and Aries are super lit up because of this new moon creeping in on the 2nd, which is like a week and a half away, or yeah, week and a half, a little bit over a week and a half. And so you're going to start feeling more and more partnership stuff bubbling up, going, how are you going to handle it? You're going to get out of balance? Are you going to make this a legal and binding contract where they are equal and you're equal? Or if they come in unbalanced, do you lower yourself to balance them back up again? You're giving. And so my answer is, until we learn how to really put back into us, right? There's someone just shared a book with you. She says she read a really good book called Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. Thank you for sharing that, Krista. So Good Boundaries and Goodbyes is apparently a really good book on boundaries. Again, my answer to all of you wanting boundaries is you don't need boundaries when you know yourself. I can tell you straight up, my friends, I will fall into rescuer mode so easily because I know what to do. Why? Because I've had to deal with a lot of things for myself. And I'm like, well, I want to share. I don't want you to feel it. I want you to feel good so you can come be happy with me. And the answer is that's not the solution. The answer is to stay here and let the boats come to you. Remember, you're the lighthouse. Lighthouses do not go, hey, screaming in the storm and the fog. You can't hear me, but come this way. Take a right. You don't do that. When you're a lighthouse, you just shine and keep filling in the light of that battery. You don't go out and judge. You don't care if that boat is a color or a left or a right or a good person or a bad person or a right or wrong. I know people who have done things that they probably just do never ever want to speak about in their life again. Embarrassed, maybe felt guilty about it. It was their journey. That doesn't mean they're not still lovable. I know people have been in prison with drug habits. I mean, there is nothing that I have not heard or experienced through all of my coaching practice for 30 years. What I'm trying to share with you is it doesn't matter what they've done. It matters you. So we all have the same thing. God, I feel guilty. I got to help them. I got to rescue them. I feel bad. I'm not a victim, but I'm needy. I need you to want me. So boundaries show up when you break boundaries is because you're feeling needy, victim. So because I don't like you using that word, but I had to give it to you straight. When you're in being needy, that you need someone to give you something, you're already going to attract a perpetrator. You always need to balance out. So victim over here is going to have the pendulum swing and you will energetically attract the perpetrator. If you're over here and you're attracting and you're the rescuer, you're going to automatically attract the victim to balance out. If you're the perpetrator, you're automatically going to draw yourself into some sort of victim state. Does that make sense, my friend? It doesn't matter which one it is. Someone says if you have Libra in your 5th house, you must pick a theme. I thought it says them. You must pick a theme in that house to refill your battery and not theirs. Absolutely. Right? So for me, I picked the theme of fun, right? I picked the theme of entertainment and being on stage. And so all my partnerships, if they're with me to go be on stage and have fun at these events, I'm in. If they don't sound fun to me, I'm not doing them anymore. So Libra is about, and romance. My husband knows he's on high alert for being romantic with me. I tell him, now if I don't tell him I need romance, he's not going to even know I need it. So I'm very firm about that Libra moon of mine needing romance and to up my game instead of saying, how would they know? Oh, they know because my light's shining. So being a lighthouse doesn't attract one of those 3 always back that we attract. No, being a lighthouse means you aren't going to rescue anybody. You have no need to be a victim because you're taking care of yourself. And you have no need to pull a perpetrator because if you're taking care of yourself, you don't need anyone else to break you down to look at yourself. Have you guys ever noticed when you aren't well or something you were doing well, and then all of a sudden, like I said, you go on a trip and you run your battery down, and then you get sick. Like you feel good, don't feel good, feel good, don't feel good. That's the same thing as when you keep filling in your light and you don't fall into, I don't deserve this that long. That's what I was sharing with all of you. It was feeling so good for a while, and then all of a sudden I overgave and I overdid things I shouldn't have even done, but I did it anyway. And then I started getting these migraines. My system was run down, and I was like, oh my gosh, I did this to myself. So being a lighthouse really freaks people out because it means you're filling yourself first. So when someone says, I don't know how to set boundaries, I don't want you to set boundaries. I want you to fill your soul, everything that raises your energy and your vibration and your frequency. Can you share with me one thing that makes you feel free? One thing that you love? For me, it's reading. And for me, it's doing things around the house, like decorating or doing things that make my house beautiful. So everybody go ahead and share in the chat. What is one thing when you do it, you just feel free doing it? That will give you indication of how to set boundaries and bring it into you. If you're doing that thing for you, if you have time for it, singing, songwriting, and reading, those should be your non-negotiables for the next month of practice. And I never tell people to not stop flirting and living and dating, because people will teach you if you're doing a good job. If you're married, they will teach you if you're doing a good job. Reading outside, soaking up the sun in my bathing suit and writing. I love it. And when we do these things, then someone, if you're feeling like, oh gosh, am I being too needy, right? When you're needing someone to tell you you're not worth it, right? A perpetrator is going to come in and go, right, why are you writing? You don't deserve that. And you're going to go, because I love myself and I'm going to stay right here. This fills my battery. I'll see you in an hour or 3 hours. That's you staying as a lighthouse. That's you staying in a lighthouse. But I guarantee you, when you start going into what you love, someone's going to come in and try to pull on your energy, because they want what you have. That's where the perpetrators, like she was saying about the lighthouse. But what my point being is, when you hold it, singing, songwriting, reading, another one is sitting in the sun and grounding. It's beautiful. These are things that are so simple, yet we don't do it. Guys, I have read, my husband was making fun of me. I'm a fast reader, okay? So I have read 20 books probably in the last 2 months. So, you know, I mean, I can read a pretty thick book in like 3 days. Like, it's just, I'm pretty fast. So, and it's like he's like, wow. And I'm like, but that's how I shut my brain down and fill me back up. Some people, they like to go out for bike rides and be busy and whatever it is, that's okay too. Some people like to be in the sun and get grounded. Some people writing. And that's beautiful. She's an amazing writer, so that's why she does it. Singing. I don't have the best voice, so you all would be drained of your batteries if I started singing for you, but I do for my husband, and he laughs at me. But my point being is, don't change your spirit. That's what this is time. The universe, the planet is changing, my friends, and I'm telling you, we are slowly learning how to take care of ourselves again. Fill back in. Quit worrying about if someone likes you or not. If you feel good about you, you'll know you're not going to attract, when you're not in needy, rescue, or perpetrator mode, you won't attract that shit. So you won't get your walls broken. You won't have to worry about putting protection up, because you will attract in more light. And you'll know if that's what's showing up. Okay, someone says, so avoiding what you attract is your freedom to refill your battery. Avoiding what you attract. Yeah, so it's not about avoiding what you attract. My friends, I want you to understand, when you see an issue on repeat, that's what last week was, this infinite loop, right? I want it, I don't. I want it, I don't. I want it, I don't, right? I want a relationship. I don't want what they bring me. I want it, but I don't like what they bring me. Okay. So when you see what you're attracting, what they bring you, they're just the polarity opposite of what you're attracting because you're in one of these corners. So step into the middle of choice of not like basically accusing others, right? The choice of not being pulled and attracting one of those because you're choosing you, of singing, writing, grounding, sunning, whatever it is. I do the most, these calls are all written while I'm on my 2-mile walks. That's when I write them. I voice them in. I kind of look through what I was channeling. I channeling them out, and then I fix them a little bit, but I do the best channeling when I'm moving. Okay. So I used to work out really intense workouts, and now I moved to slow down. What it is it that Dawn needs? My husband's like this avid runner. I would never go as far as he goes anymore. Okay. Let's see. What if it's not others, but it's you perpetrating yourself? This was me. So it's a good question again, because it's you diving into what you need to reset your own battery. Your higher self calls you out every time. Your higher self will get you again. Someone said a leaky gut. I had a flare up in my intestinal tract as well. Someone said also that they had, pain in their foot. I'll get migraines. I'll know right away when I'm drained because I have not slept. I had not slept for a week, and it was because of my, not sleeping, trying to control nervousness, overwhelm. And so again, you have to understand, if you're perpetrating yourself and you're not feeling well, it's forcing you to reset your own battery and start putting back into you. Right? It could be time, it could be a new healing modality, it could be solutions to bring more energy to fill your bucket, whatever that is. But I'm telling you, when someone shows up externally on these corners, you might be, I'm not doing the rescuing, and a victim shows up, you're like, what? I don't want the person I love to hurt. And then you pull out of the center and you move over here to the corner. And then if you're in this corner, in order to hold that energy of rescuer, you need the victim there. Which is why I'm asking all of you to acknowledge this in partnerships. Now I'm bringing it up tonight because yesterday, what was the 22nd? Yeah, yesterday was the 22nd. And so this Libra energy has been creeping in, and it's going to go on for the month. Okay. And so I was trying to give you guys the most simplistic way to start looking at this energetically, spiritually. If you just stood in the center of your birth chart and said, okay, which one of these houses has a theme that flares me up and I'm weak, then you work on that, of filling that back into your soul, whatever it is. Okay. And that's how this works on the most simplistic levels. Of course we can go advanced. Of course we can go deeper, but really we don't need all these psychological theories when at the end of the day, it's you checking you and asking, I love what she shared earlier, and I'm going to bring it up again. Is this a he or she? I don't want to be calling, tell me your name, because whoever's sharing this with us, it was such a good, because everybody's struggling with saying, I don't have any boundaries. Why? Because you have been taught to give to everyone else but yourself for so long, right? That it's almost like an unknown, illogical way to live. Does that make sense? You feel selfish taking care of yourself. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like you're being, almost like needy, right? You're not needy. Needy is coming from a place of lack. Victims come from a place of lack, like they don't have enough, so they will track someone to push into their space. So that's what I'm trying to share with all of you, is that's the whole point, okay? And so if you can start looking at that, that is the perspective we're all looking at when it comes to this perspective. If you're struggling to sit in the center and just fill your bucket and quit worrying about other people, it doesn't mean they're not going to fall apart and be one of those also corners. But it doesn't. Oh, Pooja, sorry, I didn't, your name doesn't come up, so I appreciate it. Hello, it's good to see you again. Welcome. So again, I don't debate when people hurt you. It feels like It's going to happen again. And my answer is we have the power to decide that we will not let someone decide our future, decide our freedom. So you're going to be more picky and deciding who gets to come into your circle. And when you start catching yourself where you're feeling that someone's taking advantage of you or they're using you as a doormat, you know, oh, it's me, I'm in victim mode. Oh, it's me, I'm trying to rescue them. Oh my gosh, they're being mean to me. You pull out and you say, I'm going to take care of me for a while. I'll see you soon. That's how simple we can make this in relationships, because I'm guaranteeing you all are going to experience this. Spouse, friends, family, external. Oh, they did this to them. They did that to them. We don't care. Wherever you are in your current environment on your geographical location right now is all that matters to shine your lighthouse, and you guys fill that battery. Okay. Promise me, all of you, you're going to fill the battery because you guys are my spiritual warrior badasses. You have worked through this for so long with me, and I'm telling you, it's going in such a beautiful place. And those of you who are now going, oh, it's okay to pick me, it's okay to love on me, it's okay to not take people's bullshit. Spouses all over the place are fighting, and I'm like, that's good. They're learning how to be two independent people, so when they come together, they're more powerful. There's nothing wrong with arguing. There's something wrong with someone using you. That's the difference. So, all right, my friends, as always, if you want the specific on paper, go get the ebook with these hotspots on it. It'll help you run through it. Again, just comment ZBook if you're in Facebook or Instagram. It'll drop you the link. And if not, just go to idiclub.com and it's down there. You can click on it and get it. The DMT method, as I said earlier, it's all, I'm almost out of seats, which is a pretty cool thing, right? So remember, it's where you're going to like entirely upgrade your life at 10x level. Go to my website, ideserveitnow.com. A pop-up will pop up. You'll find the web page and you can sign up there. Remember, so someone said real quick, I'm going to touch on this right before I end. Remember that if you're listening to this after the live session on YouTube or Spotify, the links will be in the notes where you can go find all the links for these events. Someone's bringing up issues over here. What if I'm the one being accused of something that I won't own? Well, that happened to me recently too, and I called him out and said, this is a fact, this is how it was, but that's okay, you do you believe what you need to believe. That is the perpetrator coming after the victim right there. Someone is insecure. Most perpetrators, my friends, are coming at you because they have an insecurity and they want someone else to feel just as insecure as they are. So don't take a perpetrator as they have power. They don't. So someone coming after you and blaming you for something that wasn't yours is them wanting to bring you down from your lighthouse. Don't bite. You got to do this for yourself. I promise you guys will feel so much better when you just check yourself. Am I here, here, or here? Get to the center. Shine. Fill my battery. Am I here, here, or here? Get to the center. Shine. Fill my battery. That's all I want you guys to do, okay? And I'm going to fill you in more details on Libra next week, but I was going to give you a simple walk into this Libra phase, okay? Find me, you guys, if you have any questions. You know where to find me on any social media. Just DM me. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I love you all. Brightest blessings. You have a good night.